A friend of mine once moved to a new city. New job, new apartment, no family nearby. A few weeks after she arrived, her car broke down on the side of the road late at night. Nothing dramatic, just a dead battery. The strange part wasn't the situation, it was what she did next. She sat in the car for almost an hour trying to fix it herself, searching things on her phone, opening the hood even though she clearly didn't know what she was looking for. At one point, she even considered walking home. What she didn't do was call anyone, not her coworkers, not the one friend she'd made in the city, not even roadside assistance, until much later. When I asked her later why she hadn't just called someone, she gave the same answer people often give in moments like that. I didn't want to bother anyone. And if you've ever known someone like this, or maybe recognized it in yourself, you know how puzzling it can be, because the help is usually there, but asking for it feels almost forbidden. And the psychology behind that feeling goes deeper than simple independence. People often assume that someone who refuses help is just very self-reliant. They'll say things like, they're strong, or they like handling things themselves. But real independence usually feels relaxed. Someone who is comfortably independent can still ask for help when they need it. There's no internal drama around it. People who fear being a burden behave differently. They hesitate before sending a message. They apologize for things that don't require apologies. They think carefully before asking even small favors. And afterward, they replay the interaction in their mind, wondering if they asked for too much. It's not confidence, it's caution. Almost like there's an invisible rule running quietly in the background. Don't make life harder for anyone. Psychologists sometimes link this pattern to what's called burden sensitivity, a heightened awareness of how your needs might affect others. It often starts earlier than people realize. Maybe someone grew up in a household where stress was constant. Maybe they had parents who were overwhelmed. Maybe they learned that asking for attention, help, or emotional support created tension. Children are very good at noticing patterns like that, and many of them arrive at a quiet conclusion. My needs make things harder for people. Once that belief settles in, it tends to follow them into adulthood. They become the people who help everyone else, the ones who listen patiently, the ones who show up when others are struggling. But when the direction of support flips, when they're the one who might need something, it suddenly feels uncomfortable. Not because they don't deserve help, but because somewhere along the way they learned it came with a cost. Here's the part that most people don't realize until much later. Avoiding being a burden doesn't just remove pressure from others, it quietly removes connection too. Because closeness between people usually grows in moments of shared vulnerability. When someone never asks for help, never admits when things are difficult, never lets anyone show up for them, relationships stay polite, friendly even, but something deeper never quite forms. Not because people don't care, but because they were never given the chance to. If this pattern feels familiar, it's worth saying something important. The instinct to avoid being a burden usually didn't appear randomly. It probably protected you at some point. Minimizing your needs may have kept peace in a stressful environment. It may have helped you avoid criticism or rejection. In that context, it made sense. But the environments we grow up in aren't always the environments we stay in. And adulthood often offers something different. People who genuinely want to help. Not because they feel obligated, but because care is how relationships actually deepen. Most people aren't quietly calculating how inconvenient you are. They're simply waiting for permission to be part of your life in a real way. There's a strange paradox in human connection. The people most afraid of being a burden are often the least burdensome people anyone knows. They handle things quietly, they carry their struggles privately, they work very hard not to make life harder for anyone else. But relationships were never meant to work that way. They were designed to share weight. So if you've spent most of your life trying to take up as little space as possible, you might not have been protecting people from inconvenience. You might have been protecting them from the opportunity to care, and sometimes letting someone care about you isn't a burden at all, it's the beginning of real connection.